Alright, since we're reviewing handguns, we had the Beretta 92 FS and an old gun I've had for over 30 years, the Springfield P9 pistol, and I'll give you the story on this. And as you can tell from this box, this is a very old gun. So let's take a look at what we got inside here and give you the history on it. Okay, Springfield Armory. Back when they closed the actual Springfield Armory and the people bought the name and the rights to use it, their first product lines back in the 80s when they came out with it was 1911A1, and it's still made today. And of course the M1A, which is the civilian copy of the M14. They also made a few other handguns, and a handgun that was pretty popular back then, when 9mm in that. I guess there were, what came in this were 2 brushes. They did not include a spare magazine. I had to buy them. There were 2 brushes, the pistol, and that packed in the styrofoam. And Wonder 9s were not as popular back in those days as they are now. So what Springfield did is they came up with a copy of a pistol. It was pretty interesting. And what it was is a copy of the CZ-75. Now back during the Cold War, the Czechs designed this gun. And it was a 9mm with a double stack mag. Let me see what it is on this here. Doesn't say. I don't know if it's 15 or 17 in this, but double stack 9mm. And they made these in 9, 40, and 45. I was going to get a 45, but the first one I got was a 9mm. And this one's a little bit of an unusual model. They had standard barrel length, standard compact, and the LSP model, which this is. And what this is, it has a longer barrel, and the barrel is ported, which used to be called Magnaport. It's got a ported barrel, and I think it's an inch longer than the standard one, and I think it also has this added texture up here on the slide. So like I said, they couldn't get these out of Czechoslovakia because of the good old Cold War days, but they were a popular handgun. So Springfield, who was making them is the Italians. This is where I got confused until I found the history. These guns were made in Italy, okay, marked with the Springfield logo on there. And we'll zoom in to see that. So it was Tafaglio or one of the companies there. There were 2 companies that made them. And they would go and put the Springfield scroll and address on them. And there's your model designation. And this was like the competition model, or what they'd call a race gun back in the old days. And CZ-75 basically was a different copy. It was a kind of a copy of the Browning high power, the whole concept, size and that. This still has, you know, a rounded trigger guard. This pistol itself, I believe, okay, well, and see, there's your barrel porting in there. It's pretty neat thing. You know, standard, you got your slide release. This is your safety. Put it on safe. Let me see. Yeah, and the safety, like on the 45, the safety will not activate until you cock the gun. So if the gun is not cocked, and when you release the safety or put it on, it does not decock. This is not a decock pistol. So this is, and it is a double action pistol, okay? And there is a half cock notch, okay? A lot of these old guns still had that. People like that half cock feature of getting around the chamber, dropping it down to half cock. The safety does go up on the half cock. So you can have it on half cock, have the safety on with a round in the chamber. Then you would just flick the safety down, pull the trigger, and away you go. A little bit lighter than a full double action trigger pull. Okay, and the sights, there is a screw for the sight in the back that adjusts elevation, and that is 3-dot sights. Let's try to get this in there. Yep, 3-dot sights, and there is a screw you can adjust for elevation and windage on this here, this rudimentary sight. So pretty standard basic weapon. Okay, like I said, single action, double action, got your safety and your slide release here. Now, on these pistols, like with all the CZs, and the reason they kind of stopped making this gun is because the Cold War ended and CZ was able to market its own guns here in the US. So it kind of put an end to Springfield, dropped this gun from their line. And you can still get these made, the Witnesses by European Arms, America or something, still makes a version of this. And they make several of them in several different calibers, and it's a neat gun. So takedown on this, if you see there's these 2 dots. And what you have to do is you have to pull the slide back just a tad to where you line the dots up. And then give a shove on the other side on the pin. You make sure. Kind of hard to do this with the camera. And then this comes out. Your slide release, and we'll back it up, and then your pistol comes apart. Now the innovation of this gun is that instead of like the 45 where the slide goes over the frame and the rails are cut on the outside of the frame, the rails on this pistol are cut inside the frame here. Your rails are inside and your slide runs inside your frame. Like this. See, the slide goes in the frame. And I believe doing this somehow lowered the center of the bore axis, which made this pistol a lot more comfortable to shoot. And there you have there's no bushing or anything. You have your recoil rod and recoil spring, and you pull out the barrel. Now the interesting thing about this, I don't remember the name or how it come about, but remember when we looked at the 1911s where the barrel drops down and inside the frame there would be part of your feed ramp? Where you look inside this frame, it's pretty wide open. I forget the name of this, but what they've done to alleviate that shortcoming in the 1911 style thing is to make this where the feed ramp and everything is all part of the barrel. And then when, instead of a swinging link, you have this slot that drops and it locks like the 1911, but what happens is instead of a link, it rides on the rod there, and this drops the whole thing down, feed ramp included, which kind of helps with reliability. This is your guide rod, and when this rides on there, same thing like the 45, it drops down, and then your feed ramp and everything is all together. So that helps with reliability. That's the inside of the frame. You see the same locking system. And it's basically, like I said, the modified Browning designs. So it goes together fairly easy. And this is a longer ported barrel, which is a little unique. And you just snap that back down in there. It locks into place like that. And you see your inside of your frame in that. Pretty neat mechanism. It's a well-made gun, and over the years it's functioned very reliably for me. There's really nothing that I put in this that'll act up or create a problem. And again, what we do is we go to this side, we line up our dots best we can, and just go and put, if my hand will let me do it. And this is where I get into the difficulty in some things here. Okay, line those dots up, press this down, and there you go. We're into it. Like I said, you can still buy these. I don't know if they'd have decockers on them or if they've modified these over the years. This is the old design. This is like a 30-year-old pistol. One of my favorites. That's why I kept it all these years. And now I found out they were made in Italy. So, and like I said, European Arms of America still makes them. The Witnesses, you can still get this pistol. Italian-made copy, and you can get an original CZ-75, and then they have the 109s and that, which are all variations, more modern versions of this gun. They do come with polymer frames, but I do like these old machined pistols here. And this gun here, even with the high-capacity magazine, for some reason, now we're discussing it, I get a better grip on this gun. This gun fits better in my hand than the Beretta. So let's, since we got some time, let's take a look at the two of them side by side. Alright, like I said, I kind of like the fit of this in my hand as compared to the Beretta 92, which it's close. But just for the hell of it, what we're going to do is we're going to take a measurement of the width of the grip. I'm just going to see. One inch, 375 thousandths. One inch, 370 thousandths. Okay, 1 inch. 985. Yeah, 2 inch. This one here is 2 inch 85. So it's 100 thousandths different wider in there, and you can feel it. Okay, there is a difference. Width wise, this way, it's about the same. But what happens is the distance here is 100 thousandths difference. Okay? And, you know, without measuring it, I can feel that. When I grip this, my grip in that, I hold this older pistol better than this. And this is the one thing I didn't like about the Beretta 92F is the difference does change my grip in that. Even though they're basically the same size and type of handgun. And what was I going to say here? So yeah, that's the difference in it. And that's why I kind of like this one better. And we're going to take them out and shoot them side by side and see how this old gun does. I mean, yes, this is more modern with its decocker, automatic safety, and block and everything. This gun comes apart quicker and easier. This is just an older style weapon, but still double action, single action, no decocker. See, that was not on there. I don't know if newer versions have a decocker. And what's pretty neat is I believe this barrel, they're all about the same length barrel-wise. It's got a ported barrel, which I like. It's kind of neat. Alright, well, that's my view of the P9, the old P9. Like I said, you can still get this too, made in Italy, as the witness. And they have different variations, different calibers. So now all that's left, you're going to go out to the range and put some rounds through them and see how they do.